Have you ever wondered about the extraordinary life of Moses, the man who defied a pharaoh and led an entire nation to freedom? Today we aim to shed light on this enigmatic figure, who stands at the crossroads of faith, history, and myth. Moses, a name that echoes through the annals of time, is a central figure in some of the world's most prominent religious texts. In the Bible, the Torah, and the Quran, he is hailed as a prophet, a leader, and a liberator. His story is one of courage and conviction, a testament to the power of faith and the human spirit. Born into a world of hardship and oppression, Moses rose to become one of the most influential figures in history. His life was marked by momentous events that have since become pillars of religious doctrine. His journey, from the banks of the Nile to the foot of Mount Sinai, is a tale that has been told and retold across generations. Moses' role in leading the Israelites out of Egypt is perhaps one of the most well-known episodes of his life. Defying the might of a pharaoh, he led his people on an arduous journey towards freedom, a journey that has been immortalized in the annals of religious history. But Moses was more than just a liberator. He was a lawgiver, a conduit between the divine and the mortal. At Mount Sinai, he received the Ten Commandments, a set of divine laws that would forever shape the moral and ethical framework of societies to come. Yet for all that we know about Moses, much remains shrouded in mystery. The details of his life, his struggles, his triumphs, and his death are often interwoven with legend and faith, creating an enigma that continues to fascinate scholars and believers alike. Join us as we delve into the life of this remarkable man, from his birth to his death, and unravel the mystery that is Moses. Stay with us as we embark on this journey through time, exploring the life and legacy of one of history's most enduring figures. The story of Moses begins not with triumph, but with a mother's desperate act of love. In a time of great fear and uncertainty, a Hebrew woman gave birth to a son. This was no ordinary time, for the Pharaoh of Egypt had issued a chilling decree: the death of all newborn Hebrew boys. The Pharaoh, threatened by the growing population of Hebrews, believed this cruel act would keep them in check. But the mother of Moses, driven by a love stronger than fear, defied this decree. She couldn't bear to lose her son to such a cruel fate. In an act of faith and desperation, she placed her baby in a papyrus basket, sealed it with bitumen and pitch, and set it afloat on the Nile River. She hoped against hope that her child would be found by someone who would show him mercy. And indeed, the river, which could have been a grave, became a cradle. The infant's cries were heard by none other than Pharaoh's daughter, who was bathing in the Nile. Moved by compassion, she decided to adopt the child, unaware of his Hebrew origin. She named him Moses, meaning drawn out of the water. In the palace of the Pharaoh, Moses grew up, receiving an education fit for royalty. He was taught the arts, the sciences, and the ways of leadership. All this while, his true identity remained a secret. His Hebrew mother, who was brought in to nurse him, nurtured him with the stories and traditions of his people. Interestingly, Moses, a Hebrew by birth, was raised as an Egyptian, in the heart of the power that oppressed his people. This unique upbringing would later play a pivotal role in his life and mission. Little did anyone know that this Hebrew child raised in the heart of Egyptian power would one day change the course of history. Moses, the child of the Nile, was destined for a greater purpose, one that would challenge the mighty Pharaoh and liberate the enslaved Hebrews. But that's a story for another time. The turning point in Moses' life came not amidst the grandeur of Pharaoh's palace, but in the solitude of the desert. A place of quiet isolation, where the cacophony of the world falls away, leaving only the whisper of the wind and the stark beauty of untamed nature. It was here, in the humble expanse of the wilderness, that Moses had an encounter that would change the course of his life and the destiny of an entire people. The divine manifested itself to Moses in the form of a bush, aflame but not consumed. An image as perplexing as it was awe-inspiring. The burning bush was a sign of the divine, a symbol of an unquenchable spirit, a fire that burns but does not destroy. It was from this flame that the voice of God spoke, issuing a divine calling. Moses, a shepherd, was chosen to be a deliverer. He was tasked with a mission of monumental proportions, to lead the enslaved Israelites out of the land of Egypt and into the Promised Land. Imagine the burden of such a demand. The enormity of the task at hand would have been daunting, even to the bravest of hearts. Yet, the voice from the burning bush was insistent and unyielding. Moses, however, was initially reluctant. He questioned his own worthiness, his ability to persuade the Israelites and the Egyptians, and even his capacity to communicate effectively. But divine reassurances came from the fiery bush. God promised to be with Moses, to guide him and to give him the words to speak. He was given miraculous signs to perform to prove the divine authority behind his mission, and with these assurances Moses' reluctance gradually gave way to acceptance. So, with a shepherd's staff in hand and a divine mission etched in his heart, Moses stepped onto a path that would lead him through trials and triumphs, through seas and deserts, through doubt and faith. With a burning bush as his beacon, Moses embarked on a journey that would forever alter the destiny of the Israelites. From plagues to parting seas, Moses' leadership was marked by miracles and divine intervention. The Exodus, one of the most dramatic episodes in the Bible, stands as a testament to this divine guidance. As Moses led his people, the Israelites, out of Egypt, God unleashed 10 plagues upon the land. These were not random acts of wrath, but divine judgments designed to demonstrate God's power to Pharaoh and the Egyptians. From turning the Nile into blood to a final devastating plague that claimed the firstborn of Egypt, each plague served as a stark reminder of the might of the God of Israel. But the journey didn't end with the plagues. Moses, with a staff in hand, approached the Red Sea. With a pursuing Egyptian army at their heels, the Israelites found themselves at the brink of despair. But Moses, guided by faith, lifted his staff, and the sea parted, providing a miraculous escape route. The Israelites crossed on dry ground, and when the Egyptians attempted to follow, the waters crashed back into place, ensuring the Israelites' escape. After this extraordinary deliverance, Moses led his people to Mount Sinai, where he ascended alone into the cloud-covered peak. There, in a moment of profound communion with the divine, Moses received the 10 Commandments, a set of ethical and religious laws that would serve as the moral foundation for the Israelites and countless generations to follow. These commandments, etched by God's own hand, ranged from directives about worship such as, "You shall have no other gods before me," and "Remember the Sabbath day, to keep it holy," to ethical guidelines like, "Honor your father and your mother," and "You shall not murder." The Exodus and the giving of the 10 Commandments underscore the extraordinary relationship between God and his chosen people, with Moses as the intermediary. Through trials and triumphs, Moses remained steadfast, guiding his people towards a future promised by God. Moses' final moments were not of despair, but of hope for a nation on the brink of fulfilling its destiny. As Moses stood on Mount Nebo, gazing upon the promised land, he knew he would never set foot on its soil. Yet his heart was filled with joy, not sorrow. He had led the Israelites out of Egyptian bondage, guided them through the wilderness, and now they were on the threshold of a new beginning. Moses' death was not a tragic end, but a triumphant culmination of a journey marked by faith, perseverance, and divine intervention. Moses' legacy is as multifaceted as the man himself. A prophet, lawgiver, and leader, he is revered across cultures and religions. As a prophet, Moses communicated directly with God, receiving divine messages that guided the Israelites and shaped religious thought for millennia. The 10 Commandments, a moral compass for countless generations, are a testament to his role as a lawgiver. As a leader, Moses' impact is immeasurable. His courage in the face of adversity, his unwavering faith, and his commitment to his people set a precedent for leadership that resonates till today. Even in his final moments, Moses demonstrated selflessness, blessing each of the 12 tribes of Israel, knowing he would not join them in their new home. His life story, from the bulrushes of the Nile to the slopes of Mount Nebo, is a narrative of divine purpose. Moses navigated trials and tribulations with grace, guided by a faith that was unshakable. His story is not just one of freedom from physical bondage, but also a tale of spiritual liberation. Moses' influence extends beyond the confines of the Old Testament. His life and teachings continue to resonate in contemporary society, inspiring films, literature, and art. His legacy is a beacon, illuminating the path for those seeking guidance, strength, and faith in challenging times. Moses' life, a tapestry of faith, courage, and divine purpose, continues to inspire millions around the world.